Alright, so I'm new to this vlogging. I just want to share. Sorry, voice is parched. I'm a 32-year-old man. My voice does not normally crack. But I've been doing more and more vlogging lately in the form of videos aimed at self-awareness, self-discovery, human thriving, and the journey in and through our own personal, unique human experience. And yeah, so I'll just say that and tell more about myself later, because I just want to process this as it's still happening. I love hiking, and I did a Wim Hof course. He's a Guinness World Record holder for cold exposure and doing amazing things, and I did a course with him learning his breathing techniques and how he does this, and have some other videos on that I'll share. But I've been doing it before hikes, not as regularly as I could be, so basically just like once a week I'll do these, and I just want to talk about the physiological stuff right now, because I just did 5 rounds of it. Because I'm in a new posture, I'm sitting in a chair. When I did it, I was always lying down flat, and so I think that made it easier to do deep breathing. So I'm sitting in my car outside this, hike, trailhead in Colorado, and just wanted to do them. I like going on hikes. It's a fun experience, but I'll get to that later too, or talk about that in my other videos. But what's happening now, as I just did it, is these breathing techniques really build up some sort of energetical charge in your body, whether that's and Wim talks about that. There is good science behind this, but just to share the physiological, experiential, my experience with this is there's a felt kind of that energy when you tighten your muscles, but it just kind of flows. It's like a tingling electrical charge that you'll feel. And for me, Wim talks about, so before I get to me, Wim talks about that really resting in your head and charging around here, and he always says feel the charge, ride the charge, or maybe I say ride the charge. But for me, it always kind of moves down my arms and rests strongly in my hands. In my other videos, you can see that it creates this kind of clamping thing with my hands, because they just this energy is just stuck there as I'm holding my breath, because you go through 30 breaths of deep inhales and just a sudden brief exhale, and deep inhale and kind of thing. And so you charge this up, and you're I don't remember, it's the science is there, but for me it builds up and it kind of rests in my hands, and I can feel that as I'm holding my breath, and that after 30 you exhale, and then that's where you hold. And the amazing thing is that your capacity to hold just increases so quickly. In 10 days I went from 30 seconds to 2 minutes and 15 seconds for being able to hold my breath. And so now I'm kind of getting back into it, and it feels like I'm kind of starting over. Whatever capacity I had built up is shrunk a lot, but I went from 30 seconds today to 1 minute and 5, so about double over the course of 5 rounds. And while it's happening, there's that just intense charge, and that slowly releases as you kind of run out of oxygen, or your body is craving oxygen. And then eventually, as for me, so I notice that because as this loosens and I can gain full control over my hands, that's about the time that I need to take a breath, or I'm getting really close. And so that's all. I've experienced that before, but something I also tuned into and noticed and paid attention to was normally when you close your eyes, if you're just being still or if you've practiced meditation and mindfulness and things like that, you just notice how thoughts and emotions and memories take shape in your field of view when your eyes are closed. And sometimes, if you're not paying attention or actively thinking about anything, that's just like swirling shapes or colorful things, or the light being pulled in through your eyelids as your eyes move around. At least that's kind of the science behind it, or the surface level science, we'll say. But all that shifts, as thoughts arise and memories, and you begin visualizing, and that changes somehow how those lights and colors all form and move and dissipate, disappear, reappear. Try it. Mindfulness and meditation and prayer are beautiful things. And you get to experience for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But so I'm doing this today, and that's always been what I've noticed, is kind of like a Rorschach image of moving shapes and colors or tones of light and dark. And but today it was this, as I was holding the charge on this last round, I still have the residual energy, which is why the camera might be shaking, my voice is a little shaky. It just makes you want to get out and move, which is what I'm about to do on this hike. But what the color experience, as I tuned into that, zoned out of my body and how I was tracking the energy in my arms and hands and kind of focusing on this and what was happening and all of that kind of stuff that you can do in just tracking sensation. Amazing thing for both therapy, PTSD, depression. It's a great skill. I'll teach more and share more on that if you guys want, but whoever you guys are, no one watches my videos, let's be real. But so what all I'm getting to is the visual thing that happened as my eyes were closed and I was holding this breath and I was feeling the charge slowly release, was this bright white and yellow kind of honeycomb pattern. And it was in kind of the whole field of view, more or less. As I tuned into it and really noticed what I was seeing or experiencing or noticing, tracking, it was kind of my whole field of view, as your field of awareness is when your eyes are closed. And I just noticed that it was just brilliant. I opened my eyes and I closed them again and it was still there, and that was when I started noticing the darker tones of yellow and gray and white and start to kind of move in, and then they just started popping up all over, and the white and yellow honeycomb disappeared and it became business as usual, and I had to take a breath. And now it's the same old thing. But yeah, life is amazing. I share this because I hope you try things that help you experience more of yourself, more of what I believe is God, the divine, love, joy, happiness, hope, all these things, all these experiences that come with encountering God, and we encounter God through human experience. And so try things, live, do whatever, not whatever, there are obviously limits to do whatever feels good or is interesting. There's a high degree of wisdom, discernment, and self-control and self-awareness that is necessary. But that being said, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of even the darkness that you feel inside you. Things have happened. Life sucks so much sometimes. But there's always amazing ways to pierce the darkness and to find new depths to your own source of love and joy and being and belovedness. Because you are loved. If no one's told you that lately, I love you. Like, that is the grounding that connects all of us. And I say that through a Christian framework, having been a youth pastor, went to seminary, and I also say that as just a human. We're all loved. We're all made for love. So get out there, live a little, love a little, experiment a little, do some weird breathing exercises, see where it takes you. Sit still for 20 minutes at a time. Watch some of my other videos on centering prayer and find a topic that interests you. And yeah, I share to share in hopes that it helps people move a little more into their own life and into their own source of thriving and joy. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for me. And this helps me do that, and hopefully it does something for you. Because that would bring me joy. You are loved. You are worthy of love.